Morning, everybody, and welcome to CEO Chat. My name is Al. Yeah,
Hey.
damn right. And you must be Joe Esserman.
Yes, I am.
It's such a pleasure working with you.
Vice versa.
Listen, always have great guests on CEO Chat, but this guest is greater than great.
Okay.
Today's guest is Marc Sinkow, Sinkow LLC, and you'll get to tell everybody how to reach you a little later on. But the reason why they should reach you is because your business, Marc, is about helping other people build their businesses. Sinkow LLC really is about groups of CEOs working together collaboratively to help each other resolve bottom line and top line issues. Is that right?
That sure is. You should come with me when I talk to people that are interested.
That would be a pleasure. But tell us a little bit about that experience and how it works for your members.
So it's a group of business owners, up to 15, sit in a room on a monthly basis, and they discuss the common challenges and issues that everybody has in business. Because at the end of the day, every business, 65% of what we do is sales and marketing, finance and accounting, and operations. Everybody shares that, every business does that, and the other 35% is what makes them unique. And by getting together, we discuss common challenges and issues that we all have. It could be identifying that next hire, or the difficulty you have in maintaining your personnel and growing your business. It could be just lonely at the top. So many business owners, they really don't have anybody to talk to. And you rely on yourself and your good judgment, and certainly many people have been very successful in doing that, but the ability to be able to share those experiences with others and learn and grow, it's a really powerful model. It's not for everybody, but for those that are interested in it and are life learners, it works very well.
How long have you been doing it?
It's been 11 years now.
11 years, okay.
A long time. I beg to differ with you. Even though you say it's not for everybody, the truth is it really is for everybody.
Everybody would benefit, but some people think they have all the answers. They're not really.
And then maybe they really shouldn't join a group like that. But that is such a self-limiting belief, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is if you let go a little bit of having to be the smartest guy in the room and allow that somebody else might be, at least in certain areas, a little smarter than you could learn an awful lot from other people who've been there already, rather than head down that road yourself. And I think that's such a compelling business model, and it's such a compelling opportunity that people who watch our program are owners of companies or founders of companies or managers of departments in companies, and they're all welcomed into your.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's great. And in order to be a member then, I guess you won't put competitors in the room with each other.
That's right.
I mean, there's some rules, right?
So some of the rules, no two members can be in the same industry, and generally they're not a vendor or supplier going into it. However, and different people that run groups run this differently, but in my mind, you end up doing business with those that you know and you like. So there is business that's conducted within the group. However, this is not networking. That's not the purpose of it. It's a secondary or tertiary benefit, but it's business intelligence. That's really what it's all about.
Okay. So I might find a client in there, but I'm not looking for one, and I shouldn't be handing out business cards at every meeting. That's not. I'm going there because I've solved problems for myself before, and I can give advice to other people who may be looking to solve a problem that's similar. I know you've got a whole bunch of stories to tell about how that works and how the dynamics pay off, but I want to make a point that you refer to yourself as a Sherpa. And I know you use the word Sherpa so we're not necessarily talking about just the expertise of Marc Sinkow. We're talking about the expertise of everybody in that group.
And really, that's probably the most critical component of it. It really isn't about me. It's really about the members. And so the greatest challenge that I have, it's like putting a team together. It's getting the right complement of people within the room where they work together. So, and just to give you an example, one of the groups that I've got, I've had it since my inception, which was in 2008. I've got 3 members that are still in that group from that day.
Wow.
So, I mean, you're talking about 11 years.
Right.
And then within that group, I would say 80% of them have been with me for at least 6 years. So, once you get in the group and you develop that rapport with one another and that trust and that confidence, it just builds from there and it grows from there.
How often do you meet?
We meet once a month.
Okay.
Meetings are from 8 to noon, and some groups I provide a la carte one-on-one coaching, and other groups it's included in the membership.
Okay, so it's a half day, once a month.
Yes.
That's all I need to worry about devoting to it. Great opportunity to, as other organizations like to say, stop working in my business and start working with other experts on my business.
That's the purpose.
That whole idea is to step outside of my day-to-day, which is very confining, and really push the envelope by talking to other people under the guidance of a Sherpa, which is how you kind of refer to yourself. Okay, what's the business model? How much does it cost?
So again, the models are a little bit different depending upon the one-on-ones, but the meeting itself is $320 a month.
Okay.
Wow, it's very cost effective, and attendance is obviously not mandatory, but you really want people to come to most of those meetings.
So, what I'll say to someone, especially someone that's just is interested in looking at the group, it's not something you put your toe in the water. So, I ask for at least a 6-month commitment, but preferably a year, because it takes a while to get to know one another, and also to get into the swing of things. And if you're, I'm happy to share with you what a meeting looks like.
Right.
Having said that, if it's not right for the member and it's not right for the group, I don't hold them to that.
Don't try to force it.
But I'd like them to make that mental commitment going into it.
Okay, great. So, is there a way to try it before I join?
Absolutely. So it's a buy, not a sell. There's a specific process that I have. I'll speak with somebody if they've been referred in. We'll have a quick conversation. If it sounds like it's something that they're interested in, I go out and I meet with them and learn more about them and their business. And if they're still interested, or if they'd like to see what it looks like, I invite them to come to a meeting. And then after they've been to a meeting, then we decide whether it's a fit for both the group, because that's important, as well as for the individual.
Are most of the members all referrals?
I would say that 99% of those that that are in the groups that I work with have been
Word of mouth,
Yeah,
people that other members
Yeah,
have.
it's a warm referral.
Okay.
All right.
And there's 7 groups that I've got.
Oh, 7, okay.
You've got 7 groups, that's great. And they're all over the place. You've got some in Pennsylvania, some in New Jersey?
Yes.
Okay, and I know a little later on we'll talk about how you're planning to expand the model, because that's very exciting. It's worked so well that you're starting to see that it's kind of blossoming. How has it evolved over those 11 years? What's different about running a business and making it work today than 11 years ago?
Well, I guess let me tell you a little bit about my background,
Okay.
and that'll lead you to where I'm doing what I
Perfect.
do
That's
today, and also like how the model has evolved. So background's entrepreneurial. I started about a half a dozen companies over the years. It was primarily product healthcare distribution. So in the 80s, the first business that I had was a home medical equipment business where I provided physical therapy related home healthcare equipment and billed third-party payers. So if you needed a walker or a quad cane or a wheelchair, I would provide that, and then I would bill your insurance companies.
Good.
Then during the 80s, there was a new market that was created. It was the dental market. So prior to the 80s, dentists did not use any kind of barriers, gloves, face masks, anything like that. And more because of hepatitis B than HIV, dentists started using gloves. So there was 150,000 dentists in the United States and a significant number throughout the world. There was a shortage of latex gloves.
Right.
Did a compensation trade agreement with China, imported latex gloves, and then with the profits that we made from that, we invested in a factory in Malaysia, and I started a factory in Malaysia at the end of the 80s.
Wow.
So in the 90s, I had a manufacturing concern in Malaysia, and then I had a distribution company that I set up in the United States where I developed a financial and marketing model.
Right.
Those 2 companies did about 10 million in revenue. I had 300 employees overseas. I had 50 employees in the United States. And then in addition to that, I had a medical transcription service in the 90s where we provided medical transcription to physicians and physical therapists. So if your primary care physician referred you to like an orthopedic surgeon, that orthopedic surgeon would dictate a note. That note would go back to your primary care physician and also be used in the billing process. We transcribed those notes.
Okay, great.
And in the early 2000s, sold the transcription service to Medquist, which was the 30,000-pound gorilla, happened to be located in Cherry Hill, and sold my factory in Malaysia to a client that I had in Europe. I sold my distribution company to a partner I had in the United States. It's now 2004, and you can decide what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And at the time, I was single-mindedly focused, lifestyle business. All I did was focus on building my business, and I had no network.
Right.
So I engaged a coach. And I quickly learned the importance of developing a network, and I started building that. So for several years, I did a couple of different things, and then in 2008, I found an organization called Vistage. So Vistage is the world's
company, by the way.
largest chief executive organization. That's where I cut my teeth and learned to do what I do today. I was with them for 4 years. It was a great experience. I had a great exit from them. And then I went and did it on my own. So since 2012, I've had the groups that I've built on my own, but the model is the same. And I found it to be very effective. So how is it different today than when it was then? You learn from your experience.
Well, you do. And you know, it's interesting as you were outlining your experience. If there's anything I know you know how to do, it's how to double down when you should and how to pivot when you should. I mean, sometimes just knowing the difference between staying on that road or changing course is key to really either failing or succeeding in business. So whatever the business might be, whether it's something you have direct experience in or something totally out of line from that, and no matter how business evolves or how we do business evolves, knowing the difference between staying the course and changing course, that instinct I think is key. And I could see that working in one of your groups would give me a great opportunity to learn from other people how they stuck with it or pivoted and how that made the difference.
So I can tell you like a real quick story.
Okay.
So this was, I don't know, 8 years ago. One of the gentlemen in one of the groups had a managed services business, IT services, and nice little business. I mean, he had probably 10 or 12 employees. He was growing it, and oh, by the way, he significantly grew it. But the issue that he had, he was worried about. His people like missing billable hours, because that's the way that you generate your revenue in that business. Well, so we processed this issue, and I'll be happy to share with you how that process works. And so what came out of it was when he worked for somebody else, he hated recording his time. And therefore, he didn't institute discipline and process within his organization in order to make sure that his employees monitored their time properly. Once that aha moment came about, things changed significantly for his business, and like I said, he's done quite well.
No, that's great. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk about that issue processing process because I know that's very powerful. And you've got a couple other stories to share of how people made a big difference in their lives just by collaborating in one of your groups.
Happy to do so.
Okay.
We'll be right back with more CEO Chat and Marc Sinkow after these messages.
Stick around.
Choosing Medicare coverage can be a very confusing and complicated process. Help is just a phone call away, 856-226-4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no obligation Medicare benefits consultation, 856-226-4800.
Boardwalks built for fun. Legendary rock and roll clubs.
This is how we do it. Hippity hop.
Casinos by the ocean.
Hippity hop.
Now that's New Jersey. 130 miles of beautiful beaches. Solid rock. And everything in between.
Look in the window.
Now that's New Jersey.
Burlington County College.
Is now Rowan College at Burlington County.
Still the same great faculty.
At a community college ranked top 50 in the nation.
Basically, we earn more and pay less.
RCBC students are accepted at Rowan University after graduation.
And get a bachelor's degree for around $30,000.
Online and Mount Laurel students get a 15% Rowan University tuition discount.
And have many scholarship opportunities.
So you earn more and pay even less.
Rowan College at Burlington County.
Your path to success.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to strengthen our service members? What does it take to let them know that we stand behind them, wherever they are? What does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? And what does it take to prepare them for their future?
Welcome back, everybody, to CEO Chat. My name, as it was 5 minutes ago, was Alcini.
I'm still Joe Austin.
And it's so good to see you always.
Always a
It's
pleasure.
welcome back.
Thank you.
Marc Sinkow. We're having a great conversation that was continuing actually during the break. I want to make the point that people out there may be used to living alone, essentially, running their business by themselves in their office. Maybe they've been doing that for decades. There is a whole world out there of knowledge and experience that you can comfortably enter by talking to Marc Sinkow. So you definitely want to consider giving him a call to join one of his groups. you can learn an awful lot from other people who've been there before, and he's a guy who can give you that opportunity. And we were talking how maybe in this segment you'd walk us through what one of those meetings is like.
Absolutely. So, half-day meeting. Usually we have breakfast to start out with, continental breakfast, and then we go through something called significant events. So during significant events, what we do is everybody goes around the room, takes 3 or 4 minutes, and brings us up to date of what's happened in the last 30 days, both personally and professionally, because we get to know one another. I wouldn't say intimately, but we get to know one another over time. And if anybody's processed an issue, which I'll get to in a minute, the accountability component of it is to come back to the group and, what have you done based upon the recommendations from those within the room. On, I would say, at least every other month, we bring in content experts. So someone will come in and provide a presentation. It could be on marketing and branding. It could be on the hiring process. It could be somebody came and talked about the new Jobs and Tax Act. I've had people come in and tell us what's going on in Washington in regards to healthcare, something on OSHA. So there's a variety of topics. They'll come in, it's an hour presentation, and then we get into issue processing, which is really the meat of the meeting. So issue processing, somebody brings a challenge or a question that they've got to the group, and they provide background information, why it's significant, what they've done to date, what's getting in their way, and what they want to get from the group. So if you'll bear with me, I'll tell you a quick story.
Great.
Actually, one of my favorite stories. So, woman, 58 years old, had a business for 12 to 14 years. When she first, and oh, by the way, her prior experience was in corporate. So when she started her business, she was, I guess that would make her in her 40s, right? She's now 58. Business, when she first started it, it had a nice trajectory, but it had plateaued and it was actually on the decline. She really hadn't planned fully for her retirement, and she needed to decide what she wanted to do. And oh, by the way, although she was meeting payroll, she wasn't taking any money out of the business.
Okay.
So that's a major red flag.
Sure.
So the question was, does she stay and go all in and try to build this business? She's got another 12 good years. She wanted to retire at 70 and try to create like a retirement fund, or does she go back to corporate life and take a salary? So she presents her issue to the group, but that's really what the dilemma was, or the challenge was.
Sure.
So we do something called clarifying questions. So it's open-ended questions, no recommendations, and it's a discussion to try to get an understanding, clearer understanding of what the topic is. And you can never get certainty, but you can get some clarity through that. At the conclusion of that, we go through recommendations. So the person that brings the issue to the group sits back and listens to the collective intelligence of those in the room. So basically, everybody in the room has their own experience on which to draw from, and they share that with her.
Sure.
So there were 3 primary recommendations that came out of this. The first one, there's a program called the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program. So what Goldman Sachs did is they engaged Babson College in order to be able to come up with the curriculum for this. It's like a strategic plan program where you bring in a topic and then you work on it for 4 months. It's a comprehensive program, which is like getting fed through a fire hose, but it's amazing. And oh, by the way, it's free. Can't beat free, right?
Can't beat free. And she didn't know about this until she
did.
learned it from other.
But there were a couple people in the group that had been through it. We recommended that she apply. She did. She was accepted, and she went through it.
Wow. Okay.
And then the other 2 were kind of tied together. So typically in businesses that I work with, and actually in any business, we're always concerned about raising our prices, that we're going to be, we're going to exceed the market and we're going to lose business.
Right.
So she was concerned about that. However, her pricing model was a little bit light. And she wasn't even market competitive. I mean, she was below the market. So she really needed to evaluate that. And then in conjunction with that, although operationally she was very good at running her business, from a financial and accounting standpoint, she really didn't understand her metrics that well. And again, size companies that I work with, oftentimes they have somebody internally, an admin that does their bookkeeping, and they may see their accountant on every 6-month basis. And you really need a little more financial expertise, especially when it comes to metricing. So we recommended that she didn't need a full-time controller, but to do it on an outsourced basis, which she did.
Okay.
Fast forward 18 months, she's quadrupled her sales, and in this year she's going to double it again. And there's something called, and she's making significant income, by the way, setting money aside.
Now all of a sudden she's making money.
Right. So, and there's an organization within the Philadelphia area called the Philly 100. So it's the fastest growing companies in Philadelphia. You need to apply for it. And they look at like the last 3 years top line growth. She last year was ranked number 6.
No kidding.
So she's
Wow.
like just knocking the cover off the ball.
Well, see that okay. So the experience is non-threatening, non-judgmental. You talk about an issue that you're facing. You don't get a lot of people looking down their noses at you. What you get are people looking across the table at you, offering experience from their own history that might help you out of that hole in a way.
So there's something called carefrontational. So, and that's kind of the mindset that we have. It's being direct with your recommendations, but being kind and
be kind and compassionate about it.
When you do
and people get to know each other in these meetings. I mean, it's members don't turn. It's not that fluid. So eventually, you become comfortable with just about everybody in the room.
Absolutely.
And once that trust is built, then you can open up and you could really help each other. I think that's great.
And to that point, it's amazing to see
You
how
get
much these guys care.
outcomes.
These
They're-
men and women care for one another. So there's 7 groups. Each group's got its own culture, but the one commonality is that they really care. They want to see everybody grow and develop. And when things are bad, they feel their pain.
So if one member ends up on
it's
the Philly
rewarding.
100 fastest growing companies, everybody takes credit for that.
So I
in a
will
way.
tell you that, like within the group that she happens to be in, 25% were on the Philly 100 last year.
Really?
Wow, that's impressive. That really is impressive, and that's a pride point for you too.
But it's not about me. It's really
No, it
about
isn't. You
them.
kind of step back and watch all this.
Right, and I facilitate. I add information when necessary, but it's all about them. It's putting the right team together and how they interact.
Right, and accountability is about your own accountability to yourself.
Right.
Other people are just going to remind you, you made this promise, did you keep it? And then the question to you is, did you? Did you actually do these things you said you were going to? When you track that with outcomes, I think that's the most powerful part of your story. Things change for the better when you become a member of one of Marc's groups. I think that is so powerful. And we're talking about growth too, and I know one of the things you want to do maybe in the coming year or two is to begin to grow out your own business model. You're looking for other Sherpas to join you?
Yes, I am.
To help develop, do you call everything Sinkow LLC? Is that what we're... Okay, so you're looking for people to work with you on that. What are those qualifications? What does somebody need to, what are you looking for?
Good question. It's a quiet search because it's not for everybody. One of the things, one of the speakers that I had come in, he does behavioral assessment testing, something called a predictive index. So we build a profile, based upon me, but the people don't have to be like me. You don't need to duplicate yourself. I don't need a mini me.
Sure.
But someone that's got an understanding of business, different background, but are motivated in the same direction. So through that process, I've actually met with someone recently. She's joined me, it was about 30 days ago, and she's in the process of, there's the training process and understanding. She's a member of one of the groups right now, and she's looking to launch a group hopefully by Q1 of next year.
Oh, that's exciting. And you're going to work with her
Yes,
in
absolutely.
helping to develop that.
Yes.
And what you're really doing is building up your own personal model for growth over the next several years.
Absolutely.
That's very exciting. Okay, now at that part of the program, you get to tell everybody how to reach you. If you're an owner of a business or in a family-owned business and you want to leverage the expertise of other people who've been there, you definitely want to call Marc to talk about being a member of the group. And if you think you could facilitate the kinds of meetings that Marc has described, you want to contact Marc about maybe working with him, doing things like that. So take a look in your camera and tell everybody how to get a hold of you.
So my website is synkowllc.com. It's SYNCH-OLLC.com. Email is msinkow, SINKOW @synkowllc.com. And you can reach me by phone at 610-331-3998.
Marc Sinkow, what a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
What
gentlemen.
a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
I
I
mean,
enjoyed
you've
this morning.
outlined some opportunities for people to grow their own business by working with you, and maybe an opportunity for people to become a Sherpa and help other people grow their businesses.
So
I think
one
that's
last
exciting.
thing before
Sure.
we leave. So one of the best things about what I do, based upon my prior experience running businesses, I no longer have any inventory, receivables, payables, or payroll, and I get to help companies grow. So it's in the most
What's better
exciting
than
part
that?
is
Right.
and
What could be
I don't
more?
participate in their in their growth, but just the satisfaction to assist people and helping them grow. It's just I look forward to getting up every morning.
Great. I
that's
can
great.
see that. Great experience. Thank you, Marc.
Thank you, Marc.
Thank you.
And thanks all of you for joining us on the CEO Chat. We'll be back a little later on with another CEO Chat. Until then, this guy is Joe Esamendi.
And Nancy Alcini.
And we'll see you again on another CEO Chat very soon.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great.
Yeah.